Hey, how you doing? This is Kitch, and welcome back to another episode of Kitch's Blueprint Book. As you can see around me, I've built a number of contraptions. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about stations. Okay, so first off, looking at this little situation right here, this is the station, the unloading station that I have used for, I don't know, for Factorio forever. If we take a look over here at the main station, you'll see that's basically how I set up my main base. I've used this layout forever. Basically, they unload, goes to the middle belt here, they meet up and move on. And I set all these up as dual-sided, so they unload from both sides. Combine the belts. This one here goes underground. And that's pretty much my standard unloading station since I've really been playing Factorio. And over here was my standard loading station. Didn't really use that a lot in this series. Maybe a little bit. But, yeah, so the guys come in here. They split in half. Half of it goes over here to these guys. Half of it goes over to there. They grab it, put it in the chest. And same thing. This one goes under, comes around, does the same thing on the other side. So, yeah, these have been my standard go-to stations for a long time. Now, whenever I started the Megabasics series, I kind of mixed it up a bit. I mixed it up a bit so that, you know, just wanting to get a little bit more efficient unloading. I wanted everything to balance out a lot better. I wanted all these chests to be done equally. And I came up with these. I think I actually got this one off of a Reddit post, and it worked really well. Basically, these guys unload to this underground, which goes underneath and comes in and combines with this belt. And they go out, and we split those together and get a nice belt coming out. It takes advantage of the mechanics that these inserters have when they place stuff on the belt, so that basically both of these inserters are inserting on the outside of this belt. Comes in. This one's doing on the top of this belt, and they come in. So it exploits that mechanic a little bit. I say exploits. I don't know. It uses that mechanic a little bit of the inserters placing items on one side of a belt in order to make that. And it worked out really well. We use this all throughout our smelters. If we go down here to the smelting area, to the unloading stations, you will see that this is basically what we do to load our smelters. Never had a problem there. Worked out really great. For the loading station, I did this. And looking around, I've actually seen this before, but this is something I was thinking of. I wanted all these chests to load evenly, right? That was my goal. So the idea is that we have a belt coming in. This is a 1-to-6 splitter. So this comes in. The inputs or the input is split evenly amongst 6 of these. We have our little grabber things over here grabbing off of this belt right here. Okay, so that works fine. That worked really well. All of our ore stations, like if we take a look at these guys right here, they are using a variation on that, as are basically all of them. Basically all of them are. That's how we are doing our loading. And I actually think we're even doing that, for these guys, right? Yeah, same thing. We're loading it that way. And it's been working out okay. So, basically, the first thing I did in preparation for this video was just start testing some things. Just to see if this is all, I didn't prove this with numbers. I didn't run any experiments. I just figured, hey, I want these chests to load evenly. Let's get a belt coming in, split it evenly across all 6 lanes, and it'll load evenly, right? But I never really did any comparisons. So let's just go over here real quick. I've got all my trains and stuff set up here. Everything's fine. Let's go over here and flick on the power. And that's going to get these guys loading. Now, I'm having to do a little bit of stuff here where I'm splitting this in between 2 things. But still, the single line coming out is the important part here. But, yeah, I mean, the trains unload at the same time because they're unloading into chests. But one thing I noticed as I ran this... Well, let's just see. It's repeatable. I've done this a million times. All right, so yeah, these guys are starting to unload. This setup here loads from outside to inside always. This chest is always going to be emptied first. This one second. This one or this one third, and this is going to be always the last. But so okay, this one's getting really close to being emptied out. How are you guys doing over here? The backside's done. Well, no, the backside's almost done. Okay, now the backside's done. We're just unloading from this side. This chest is spitting out its last cough. And it's done. It's completely unloaded. This one over here, not so much. So that was kind of my first realization that the way that I was doing it originally, basically we're just looking at the unloading stations. But another thing I noticed about this one is that it was just moving at the speed of Rust. It is not loading a train faster. And you may be saying, okay, yeah, well, we're only getting half of a belt here. That's true, but I ran a little speed test. I put these little guys, these grabbers going off of a belt. I put them going off of a splitter, and I put them going off of an underground belt. Now, the underground belt won. The underground belt won by a little bit. The splitter came in second, and coming in third place was the single belt. What that means is that it's quicker for one of these inserters to grab off of an underground belt first. It gets the items off the belt faster. Second, by grabbing from the splitter, and third, by grabbing in the belt. So this is actually, even under ideal circumstances, this is still real slow. And let me explain what I'm talking about here. Let me go ahead and flip this guy on, and actually I'm going to go ahead and stop you because we're going to use you all later. Yeah, so, okay, the variation on this design, I did a couple of variations. The variation I did on this one is instead of having these two lines come and meet in the middle, I joined them together with a splitter. That's really the only change that was done down here. Over here, what I did is I did two things. One, I switched this from, splitting together that way, from going to a 3-to-2 splitter so that we're getting a little bit better throughput. We're not getting a full compressed belt out of here, but we're getting the stuff out faster. The other modification I did is instead of having the belts, these guys are grabbing just directly from the splitters. And this is actually a lot faster than that up there, of course. But there's the last little piece of iron right there. It's gone. This one's already emptied. So this one still, beat it. Still beat it a little bit. All right, we missed that one. That's fine. Yeah, you go ahead and go to pick up, now. And, yeah, you just wait there. Okay, so for the third test, what I did, let's go ahead and turn these on, is I basically took that throughput design and just kept it into 2 lanes, right? So it's spitting out the same way, but one on one side, one on the other. And it's pretty darn quick. It gets all the stuff out and onto the belt extremely fast. And on this one, I have my grabber thing up there. This is the exact same as up here. What I was trying to get at with this is this fast? And it is. I did some other tests as well. That was the fastest I was able to get everything out of the chest and onto the belt, was with this setup right here. The experiment I was doing is just to see how fast the loading was. Both of these are the same. So it's just a matter of getting everything loaded up. And what I was kind of surprised to see was that this one wins every single time. The original setup that I had always used is the most efficient, the quickest at getting everything off of the belt and into the train, by far. Not by far. Well, I won't say by far, but I will say by quite a bit. So just to give you kind of an idea of what I'm talking about. Okay, so all these are on. I'm going to go ahead and flick that power switch and send everybody to their drop locations. You go to your drop. You go to your drop. This isn't the most scientific testing thing I've done. I realize that. This is all mostly just anecdotal. But, you know, I'm wanting to build my station blueprint book, and I want to at least start off from a good foundation, since most of my stations are going to be built off of it. Okay, so let's just flip it all on. We'll start the race. Go. Okay, everybody's going to start unloading their stuff. Let's just go to map mode here and get kind of a look. And let's just see, they're all going to leave at the same time because they're all unloading into chests. So that's kind of what we expect. Nothing surprising here. So the first one to actually leave this station is going to be the fastest loader. Everything unloaded. It's getting there. This one's starting to go down. It's gone to 2 lanes. You guys are getting done. This one just takes forever. Boy, this seemed to go a lot faster the last time I was testing this. All right, now the belts are starting to empty out. We should be getting close to seeing one. Okay, yep, there's number 1. There's number 2. 3. Number 4. Number 5. And I would say number 6, but this one's actually going to go first. Then that one. That one. That one. And I think this one, and this one still hasn't even unloaded yet. Yeah, I mean, I know that's biased based off of that, but even due to testing, this right here it's much faster. Okay, so what does all this mean? What does all of this mean? Well, if I'm going for the fastest unloading, I want this setup right here. This is the one that gets all the stuff from the chest out onto the belt the fastest. It gives us compressed belts coming out. So I'm getting 8 compressed belts in a just boom, really, really, really quick, right? That's the one to get the most out quickly. However, it's really, really, really big. Like, really big, right? If I want the fastest loader, these two are the fastest loaders. However, this one uses a lot less materials, and it's smaller, and it's the fastest. So this is the loading blueprint. I think I'm going to put in my book, just general purpose for everything. That one, it's the simplest, and it works the best. As far as unloading, this one is good. I want to keep it, but does it outperform this one right here, which is a lot simpler? The belts aren't fully compressed, but in a situation, I mean, what are our belts doing usually? What are our belts doing? Let's just look down here. What are they doing? They're backed up like this. So I don't know. I think most times this setup right here is going to work just fine. I don't want to do something crazy like that for all my stations. This one is nice, tight, compact, simple. I think this is going to be my main go-to right here. But I do want to have this one around just because it's fast. It might be really good whenever I need to get 8 belts of something out really quick and have a lot of trains going. So we're going to keep that one as well. Let's go up here real quick and just talk a little bit about bots, because those are a thing. The bot station's pretty straightforward. I mean, not a lot of stuff going into a bot unloading station, right? We're just unloading onto into passive provider chests. Works great. It's efficient. It's simple. There is some things we could do to try to help limit things, make filter inserters, but for right now, I think just for a basic blueprint, that is pretty good to go. For our loading station, I actually came up with two. One of them is just requester based, all pretty simple. I've got them all tied together with green wire where we set our requests through this guy right here. So each one of them is requesting 4.8K steel. That's the way that works, and I can't get these things to load evenly, so they go. They should have a delay on them. Yeah, they do. So they'll go ahead and go. But I ran into a problem, I don't know if you recall, with modules here, and we can't see it because the radar's turned off. But we can set these requesters to set requests or read contents. I couldn't figure out a way to do both. So, you know, doing a lot of circuit, fancy, turn off the station stuff is kind of out of scope of what I want for this book. But I do want to be able to run both sets of logic. I would like to be able to use logic to set the requests, but also read how much stuff we have at this station, so we can get into the logic of turning off stations if we want to. I want that ability. So I did that with a 2-level chest here. If we keep this request really like slow, right, or really short. Really small numbers, Kitch. That's what you need to say. Small numbers of whatever it is we're requesting. The disparity between these two will be minimized, and most of the buffer, bulk of it will be in here. But the advantage I see to this is we can set up a wire on these steel chests here to actually read the contents out to see what is in there. So we can do other logic based on how much is actually in the station. So that's kind of where that secondary design on the bot-based stuff went. Pretty straightforward, basic stuff up here for that. This guy, you're still loading? Still loading. Yeah, I mean, I know it's because of that right there, but I mean, how else do you split? I guess we could have run another line. We could have ran this line too, I guess. That might have worked. Well, I don't have any of my stuff on me. So on to the blueprints. Let's move on to the blueprints. So I basically set up the blueprints like this. For each one of the winning designs down there. This is the bulky unloading, express unloading station here. I did a 4-car setup for them. I don't use 8 cars that much, and I could probably derive it with an extra little blueprint copy-paste from this. It's not that big of a deal. But I set up a 4-car setup. I have them exiting to the left and exiting to the right. So that covers both situations you might find yourself in. So that works out. So I've got this station. I've got this unloading station, which is just kind of the basic one. This would be like the general purpose one. That's good enough. It's not the best, but it's good enough. Again, going out to the left, going out to the right. I have the loading station, just the basic one, the one that actually outperformed the others, the more classic ones that I selected. So got a left and right variant on that. And I have my 3 bot stations down here just ready to go. And can I just clear out? I want to clear out that for the blueprint. All right, that works. Okay, and I also added some little doodads here. These are belts going left and right. We have the loading version that goes up and into these, and the unloading that goes down. Just kind of a little convenience thing, where we can just go and plop this station down and get these guys. I don't connect them to the station because, you know, we can use this one to unload that way. We can use this one, we can flip it upside down and then have it unload or load from up here. So both of these are pertinent. I just kept them as separate blueprints so that we can add them as we need. I also created another blueprint book that is the red version of those stations for kind of like mid-game. When you're setting up your first outpost, you have robots. You may not have a lot of blue belt yet. Or red may just be fine. I did not do the big major express version of that in these, but as you can see right here, we do have the red loading left and right, and the basic unloading left and right. And, of course, the unloading and loading belt setups that we can paste down just to get this design really, really quick. All right, I also put in, I put the 4-car variants. I also put 2-car variants for all of them in the blueprint books as well. So there's 2 and 4 car stations for all these templates. I also added another blueprint book, which basically just has this right here. Actually, this was used to do both sides. Let me go ahead and that's the balancer book. I don't know where my book. There it is, right there. Yeah, just these rail segments right here. So when you're designing stations, all you have to do is just plonk these guys out to set those out at the right space. Just a convenience thing. It's a curve that I find myself needing often. The 4-car variant, as well as the 2-car variant, as well as a number of stackers, parking locations. I've got the 2-car variant in 4 lanes. This is the 8-car variant in 8 lanes, and the 4-car variant in 8 lanes. Got the 4-car in 4 and the 8-car in 2 as well. This is really the only thing I set up an 8-lane or 8-car setup for, just because these stackers, whenever you're setting them up, they're just nice to plonk down. You don't want to have to manually create all these. And I do use 8-car stackers sometimes if I'm using a 5-car building train or a building train that's double-headed, something like that. But yeah, using these, you just plonk them down. Be sure to put the chain signals up front. The chain signals are the out. The regular signals are the in. Just keep that in mind, and you will be just fine. So, yeah, stations, lots of them. That is what I've been doing over the last couple of days, and why the next installment of this series has taken a little while. I've been running a lot of experiments. I've ran. These aren't the only designs that I've tested out. I've tested out a couple of more, and with the exception of this one right up here, most of them weren't performing that great. I'm happy. I think I'm happy. I generally am happy whenever I put these out until you guys look at them and point out some of their flaws. But I'm interested to know what you think. Now, again, these stations are all just basic stations. I don't have anything with crazy circuit logic. I figure that's not something you generally set up in a blueprint so much. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you do. But they all seem like they have their own situations. So any advanced circuit logic or anything, this is just kind of a base springboard for those. But I think I'm happy with the book. Links to all of the blueprint books will be down in the comments to both the paste bin and the Factorio prints links. And let me know what you think below. Do you have a good basic station design that could improve upon these? I would like to hear it. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time.